Goldenglade. A powerful rival, Keeper Malachi has wrested control of this land from the goodly Lord Bramble. Although their enigmatic leader is now dead, heroic forces are still attempting to hold on to the remains of his kingdom. All creatures on this land are inspired by one of your rivals, and do strive to slay the heroes here, for that's their chief's commands. Humble must you be, and take whate'er you can, wherever it may lie in such surrounding caves. Such smell of blood and death may just entice the undead to your aid. Graveyard.
Hello there, Dungeon Keeper fans. This here's Uncle Troy. Today we are playing level 12 Scavenge in the land of Goldenglade. And this is the land where we meet our vampires for the first time. And incidentally, this is only about the 4th time I've attempted this level. Didn't record right one time, the video didn't. Then one time I totally messed up the audio levels and didn't realize it until I deleted the original files and just, well, we're trying again, okay?
A few skeletons are useful as they're fearful, but you'll need some stronger creatures too before your main attack.
This is another one of those levels where we simply do not have a portal. Luckily, we do have a bunch of skeletons scattered all about. So we're not completely defenseless. And unfortunately, unlike some of the other levels, we don't have just huge areas where we can expand into, but we do have this already built graveyard, if I can get my imps to claim it quickly enough. Graveyards are very useful because otherwise your dead opponents and even your own creatures just lay there and rot and smell up the place. And your creatures track blood all through your nice clean dungeon. But if you have a graveyard, your imps can... oops, looks like we got some dwarves attacking us. If you have a graveyard, your imps can drag the dead bodies back to the graveyard, lay them on top of graves, and allow them to fester in the soil, I think is how it puts it, and that causes vampires to rise.
You need a prison to impound enemy creatures.
We are not going to build a prison just yet because we actually want the creatures to lay there until they die. Normally I build a prison just as quickly as I can because I want to, to capture the enemies and convert them to my cause. But in this case, the only enemy creatures coming at us right now are the little dwarves, and they're not very good in a fight. So we want to let them turn into vampires.
You've claimed a graveyard. The graveyard. Here's where bodies of the dead are brought to fester, left to rot in unmarked graves. Their gory offerings entice the vampires here to feast.
Okay, here you can see my little imps dragging the dead dwarfs back to the graveyard, putting them in little graves. And so they will fester, they will rot, they will seep into the ground, and from there vampires will rise. And vampires are pretty neat, I think. They can cast spells. The spells can slow down enemy creatures. I think can drain them of their life force, which adds to the vampire's life force. They also have a neat little trick where they can resurrect themselves. If a, say, level 6 vampire dies and his lair is still intact, he will be reborn there as a level 5 vampire. He loses a level every time he dies. So death for a vampire is a setback, not a complete loss.
A vampire has risen in your graveyard. A vampire rises now, a beast who's cheated death, and if you train and nurture him, he'll learn to do your bidding. Your creatures require a place to rest. Build them a lair.
Vampires do not require chickens to eat. They're quite happy without them, but they do require a lair to rest where they can build them a coffin. Let's see if we can see this guy build a coffin. Yeah, cute little coffin that they sleep in. And when they resurrect, I believe a little thing of bats fly out of the coffin. Whatever a group of bats is called. Herd, flock, whatever. Vampires also like to research. In fact, vampires will research almost as fast as your warlocks. Maybe faster, maybe slower, I'm not sure. But somewhere in that range. I just got the feeling they're almost as fast as warlocks. And oops, looks like we got more dwarves coming in. And I try to drop my vampires on this level in amongst my skeletons so they can get some experience by taking out these dwarves. Notice these dwarfs have very low health and they're very low level, so they're taken out quickly. You almost think that the game is putting them there specifically so they can become vampires. Okay, I built a training room and a treasury so I can train up my skeletons. Right now I'm digging up to the east and north because I know from experience that this is a back door to get into my enemy keeper's base without having to go through all the heroes that remain in the center part.
It is payday.
Which is pretty ironic now that I think of it, because I pretty much always attempt to capture all those heroes and convert them before I attack the enemy. What I'm trying to do there is to get some of my imps to go over toward... we got more dead bodies here. Get my imps to go over toward this section of unexplored map to light it up and show me where these dwarves are coming from. There's a hero gate over there that where this endless supply of dwarves is coming from, and after a while they get annoying after you get a few vampires. So I like to take out the gate.
Your minions need a larger training room. Your create imp spell has been upgraded.
Sometimes you don't need to make the training room larger. You just need to have your imps reinforce the walls so that they have a few extra targets. Alright, still trying to get my imps to come over and explore this area. But I have found the hero gate. There you see some more dwarves are entering the area. Ideally, I should probably possess a creature and you know, walk him over there to check that out, but I just like, you know, tricking the imps and doing my job for me. Also on this level, I like to make the graveyard just a little bit bigger, because when it's only got 9 spaces, sometimes you can overfill it, fill it beyond capacity, whatever, and when that happens, you don't get the full benefit. The bodies just lay there and they don't go toward creating new vampires. And I don't want my skeletons to hack through that door and attack the heroes just yet. Oh, sorry about the spasmodic hand movements there. I try to remember to use the cursor keys to move things around, or just smooth scroll over to a new area, because one of the reasons I stopped watching another person's playthrough of Dungeon Keeper 2 was that his hand movements, you know, the hand of evil there, which shows you where to dig or pick up a creature, was just so jerking around that it distracted me from, you know, what he was saying or how he was playing the game.
A vampire has risen in your graveyard. A vampire has risen in your graveyard.
Once the hero attack started containing something other than dwarves, like these guards here, I finally did build my prison. and so I can convert the guards because they are worth converting.
Your Thunderbolt spell has been upgraded. Imprisoning off.
As you heard there, my vampires are researching new spells for me. I turned off imprisoning because it looked like we had some more dwarves coming in. I don't want my imps to waste time trying to drag them to prison. Although I'll have to turn imprisoning back on once these guards are killed because I do want them to be dragged back.
Imprisoning on.
Okay, once we can convert these guards, we'll be in a little better shape. I've been training my skeletons. Most of them are up to level 4 now, but skeletons do not ever retreat. So once they get hurt, they stay hurt. Okay, here's a little trick. Sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes you can take out a hero gate by claiming the land around it. And if the land around it is water, we'll just put a wooden bridge through those sections. And let's see. Okay, a few more dwarves. They're okay. You may notice that the skeletons will wander out into the water after the dwarves. The vampires will not, because vampires are actually damaged when they get in the water.
You have taken over an enemy room. You have successfully converted an enemy creature in the torture chamber.
Oh, now that I actually have a living minion, I need to create a chicken coop, otherwise he'll starve.
You have successfully converted an enemy creature in the torture chamber. I see you have discovered a magical item. Your creatures like your style. Your heal spell has been upgraded. You have successfully converted an enemy creature in the torture chamber. I see you have discovered a magical item. Your walls have been reinforced. A vampire has risen in your graveyard. Your tremor spell has been upgraded. There is nothing left to research. You have successfully converted an enemy creature in the torture chamber.
Okay, I've pretty much taken out all the heroes in the center part and fought my way up to the front gates of my enemy keeper. And while I will take out these sentry traps, I don't think I'm going to attack this way.
You have taken over an enemy guard room.
Instead, I'm going to go up here to the north and the east and drop all my creatures right outside the enemy dungeon heart. Use a tremor spell to weaken the walls and see what kind of damage I can do.
It is payday. You have taken over an enemy workshop. You have taken over an enemy portal. A new species of creature has entered your dungeon.
Okay, now that I have a portal, I can start getting some reinforcements, which is good because, about now is when I notice that I'm losing a lot of my creatures and I'm running out of mana to cure them.
You have taken over an enemy library. A new species of creature has entered your dungeon. You have taken over an enemy treasury.
As you can see, the dungeon heart looks really, really bad. but I'm out of mana and I'm running out of creatures. I'm going to have to retreat here soon, I'm afraid. Okay, I edited out one other failed attack, and pretty much...
Your portal is under attack. The enemy has taken your treasury.
I pretty much let my creatures heal up until the enemy imp started taking over my portal.
Your torture chamber is under attack.
Because I knew once the enemy imps took out my portal, then the enemy would start getting reinforcements.
The enemy has taken your torture chamber.
And I knew if he started getting reinforcements, then I would never be able to...
You have taken over an enemy workshop.
To take over his dungeon heart, so I had to attack now or never. Okay, that was a long, hard-fought battle, and I don't think I've ever had to make like 3 separate attempts on a dungeon heart before.
You have defeated an enemy keeper.
And I think that's mostly because usually I play very cautiously, and I make sure that I have an overwhelming majority of creatures very highly trained before I go and attack the enemy. But to make these videos for y'all, I've been trying to cut through the missions as quickly as possible, so that I don't have large amounts to cut out and do a whole lot of editing. And unfortunately, that means sometimes I take risks I normally wouldn't, and I die quicker. Also, this was like the 3rd or 4th time I played through here trying to create a video for you. As I said, I had technical difficulties earlier, so I was a little reckless this time.
A prison of ice confines the freeze trap's victim. An enduring image, Keeper. Watching the vampire drain lifeblood of those foolish enough to oppose you. You have provided this realm's miserable subjects with the blessed relief of death. Lord Pureheart has resisted the onslaught of Nemesis. Our rival has retired from battle, and I believe he has decided to try and recruit the enigmatic Dark Angels to his cause. We must hurry to discover their location. If Nemesis finds them first, he will be all but unstoppable. Harkon and Carrion, 2 of Nemesis' finest keepers, have begun the quest.
Alright, it sounds like we've got us some pretty darn interesting missions still to come. But in the meantime, I'm going to take a nap because I'm all wore out. This is Uncle Troy, wishing you all a good night and signing off.